Back here again with head coach Kent Kessinger. First full week of practice completed and a good Saturday practice. Talk about some of the growth that you've seen this week with the team.
Well, we've had a chance to get a lot of repetitions, especially with a lot of our young guys. Obviously, working some guys in, paperwork stuff and all that. We were a little hit and miss at the beginning of the week, but right now here toward the end of the week, we're about at 100% with our guys. And so what's nice is be able to run through practice, get some reps. The best thing about it is I think the young guys are starting to learn just some of the drill stuff that we're doing, so we can go from group to group and place to place and be able to be efficient in getting our stuff done. So we were able to, move in and off the field offensively with a little bit more tempo. Our defense is running the ball generally, in pretty good control and stuff. And so there's a lot of work left to do, but we're moving in a better direction.
Defense seemed a little bit spirited here today, and it seems to be a lot of physicality out there, which is nice to see.
Yeah, we got a lot more speed than we've had in the past on defense, which is really good for us. And then just making sure that they get to the right spots, and that's a nice test for our offense. Our young guys are going to learn a lot from the speed that they got and get used to it when we get into games.
What have you taken as a positive from the offense so far? I've seen some nice plays here during this practice, but throughout the week, what were your thoughts?
Well, I think that we're starting to get polished up on some of the stuff that we initially put in on the first couple days. That's coming along since day 1, 2, and 3. We're at practice 8. So some of these things we've been practicing for 8 days. Some that we've been practicing for 4 or 5 days. Those are the ones that we're starting to see. Our quarterbacks read the reads better. Our receivers run the routes better. So that's a positive thing from that.
And with that being said, how has everything gone so far? The social distancing, the wearing the masks, things like that. It seems like things are going well with that.
It's a constant reminder, but we just keep on reminding them the reason that we're doing all this stuff is so they have an opportunity to play. Like I told you before, we're going to do everything within our power to try to mitigate, the spread of COVID as much as we can. There's so much uncertainty in how that actually can be contained at times, especially when you get into a college setting, a college situation where there are a lot of people interacting in different groups and stuff. But for the most part, we're going to do everything that we can. And if we get it done and we play, then we've done it right. And if we don't, we've given our best shot.
I know that there was some places where you felt a little bit thin coming into your opening practices. Do you feel a little bit better about some of your depth?
I think that in the secondary, I'm feeling a little bit better with that. I've still got the thing about like offensive line, which is where I thought we were going to be thin at too. That just takes a lot more time. So hopefully in another week, you ask me that question, I feel a lot better than we're at right now. But it's coming along. It's baby steps with some of them, but it's coming along.
Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. Everything's leading up to that first game on the 12th, but where do you see places that need to be worked on as you head into your second week of practice?
Well, I think that we've got to the point where I know offensively that we've installed about all that we're going to do. We might have a couple tweaks here and there, but so it's just repetition. And defensively, I think that they got about 90% of what they want to do in. So it's going to be the same thing from that. So from this point, as we go into the second full week, that puts us at the toward the beginning of September. And then we have another week of just really focusing on who the starters are going to be and a little bit into the game plan that leads us into game week. So this week is still going to be a lot more learning, some polishing, becoming a little bit less robotic in what we're doing on both sides of the football in order to be able to then kind of sprint into the season.
And the question also is going to be about quarterback as we head in, and those are still probably some questions that are going to take a week or two to kind of come to an answer with.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I've narrowed it down to the 3 older guys. They have a little bit more poise right now. They're not swimming as much as the young guys are, and then now it's to be able to see as we go through it just a little bit more of a pecking order, but. Coming into this season, when March hit and as we started talking about that we were actually going to have a fall, I definitely was going to be able to have to build depth within all of our teams. So don't be surprised if you see us using 3 guys out there at quarterback and 3 guys at tight end and 3 guys at X and Z receiver as we go through the early part of the season, because all of a sudden you lose one of those guys and they have to quarantine. 2 more better be ready to go, because you always got to make sure that you got at least a good, adequate backup.
Well, and that's going to be a big key for this season, as you talked about. We see it even with baseball, how they're kind of using pitchers a little bit less or changing pitchers more often. Are we going to see, like you mentioned, with maybe multiple players playing out there during the games just to kind of keep things fresh?
Definitely, I think the early part of the season for sure. I mean, I would not hesitate right now in playing 2 quarterbacks in the first game for sure. And trying to get them equal reps and stuff. I mean, particularly, it's any game that we play is a big game, but we're playing an out-of-conference game, so it counts maybe nationally for us a little bit more. But the fact that we're extending it in the spring, I don't know if anybody's going to remember September 12th when it's April 7th or whatever it is. So it hopefully gives us an opportunity to be able just to get some guys some good quality game action, and then at the same time be able to develop that depth, the game depth that we're going to need.
Coach, appreciate the time.
Yep, you're welcome.